Everybody, welcome back to TekWarfare, episode 30 with me, Sid. And last episode we built a tree farm. Well, built two tree farms actually, and they were big tree farms. In that they I put my thing up there. In that they farmed big trees, which is what you would expect from a big tree farm. This episode, or rather between episodes, I added two smaller tree farms to this. These are all chunk loaded. We've got a birch and an oak, and this is all working fine. That one is all working fine. I don't know how I'm going to get round to those without picking up a load of logs, so let's have a gentle stroll around. There is a chance that some of these may, let's face facts, they're hardly creating spawn-proof environments, so I'm being a little bit cautious. But I don't think we've really got any danger of these picking up any saplings, because these are basically full. These will only be able to pick up jungle. Now will only be able to pick up birch, so on and so forth. But these have been working pretty much solid for a while now, so doing their stuff, and we have got a not inconsiderable amount of resources from it, so that's good. Now the reason it's good is manifold, but the main reason is this. I have got a city wall which I am building slowly around this city, town, village, whatever. I think it's going to be a city by the time we finish, but let me just head down here, and that wall requires a certain amount of resources. It requires mainly smooth stone, which we get with our silk touch mining, and it requires the spruce wood, of which we now have 32,000 stacks. Now we can upgrade that, and I may upgrade them just because I'm greedy. We've got 32,000 ironwood, we've got 32,000 jungle wood. Dark oak is not being farmed currently, acacia is not being farmed currently, but they are, and obviously the other wood's not. However, we can do tree farms with more within the confines of the town or city area with those ones. So I don't actually know how it's going to cope with acacia, because those trees are awkward shaped as well. We're going to have to do a large one over there, and obviously we're getting a lot of apples and saplings and all the other stuff as well, so that's all good. Now what I need to do, because my walls, the walls I've got are kind of more or less built to there. They still need detailing. We need to do the towers. They are built that far along, but I need to decide what I'm going to do here, and I think we're going to continue along to about here. Then we're going to come into a roughly here-ish. Then we'll come along up here to about here-ish, I think. If I switch to the night mode, you'll see that's the edge of our claimed area, and these are the chunks that we are in. So coming along there, we can take a long, a straight wall all the way back there, and then we can do something fancy, because this is a mountain and we need to kind of connect these up, and somewhere along there we're going to have a second gatehouse, which is going to be for anybody coming from that direction. That is kind of the plan, but I'm conscious that these walls are taking a long time, so I want to try and get a load of them done. And to do that, we need A, to know what the hell we're going to do with them, and B, we're going to need a lot of resource. So I am going to grab 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That should be. I'm going to grab a whole load of stone. And a whole load of spruce wood, and we're going to hammer that out. Probably not the most thrilling things we can be doing, but it is almost certainly one of the most useful things we can be doing, because we are going to get a whole load done, and I've got a few things I want to talk about as well. When do I not have things I want to talk about? Come on, it's me we're talking about here. 2, 3, 4. There we go. Right, that should do us for now. That gives us a couple of boxes. Let me get out and start planning a few things, and I'll be back within a second. Alright, here we are. This is the location that we've got. If you remember, we have 5 gap and then spruce, so we're going to need to pop our blocks down for a moment, and let's start with some spruce, because we can more or less go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 1, and then we can have that lie out of the way. So what do I want to talk about? It's a good question. I actually can't think now. Where did I want to bring this wall in? Let me just have a quick peek here. I think it wants to be up 1, so about there. That's fine. A few things really. First things first is activity on this server is kind of slowing down a bit, and this is normal. You know, I kind of record a reasonable amount every so often, as much as I can when I can, I suppose is the fairest way to describe it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not right. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. That will do us. We're going to need to level that bit off though and do something with that anyway, but things. And this, as I say, this is a normal kind of life cycle on any server, especially, you know, things as people move around and move on, they move into new realms of what they want to do and what they're building, what they're playing. And you know, I noticed the other day that somebody's been to the end. I haven't been there yet, and that's something I do want to do before we finish, but it's not. I'm not desperate, you know. I've done the end before, and I'm sure the end will be reasonably the same. But I need to start thinking, not necessarily Major League. I actually also need to start thinking about putting some blocks in for the walls, because that's going to be a pain otherwise. Let's just grab some of those. Do that. That will keep us nice, and then we shall take about 16 of those, turn them into lighty blocks. I do like to mix them up normally, but you know, not the end of the world if we don't. And we can start going down here. So 1, 2 and light block, and 1, 2, 1, 2 and light block, and 1, 2. So yeah, think going forward. See, series to do, things to do. I did put that as a light, didn't I? Yeah. The normal life cycle of any server, in my experience, is that at some point, you know, it starts getting played less. That's just how these things work. Other people have moved on. They've played it. They've got the, I suppose, the element that they wanted out of it. The play. They've gone through. They've taken it as far as they want, and they moved on to play other things. It's normal. And to some extent expected. So, you know, it's not a biggie. But stop planting trees, you buggers. I swear. The downside for that is that it means that sometimes I end up playing on a server which is actually no longer being played on as a server by anybody else, or very rarely, or few. So consequently, I like to kind of cycle the server side of things a little bit. And the server's been really useful for streaming style content, for example. I'm going to take these out because it's something that I can do. Now the streaming itself adds complications because it means that I have to kind of record around the streams. I can't, or rather I don't like to get too far ahead of myself, I suppose might be the better way of saying it. I don't know. There's never a good way of saying some phrases. So yeah, that is kind of a problem. I think it's there. That kind of gives us that. How far in do I want to bring this? I want to bring it in a little bit further. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 to there. That works. And then we go back to the wall placing. Oops. But of course that does bring me to the question of what to do instead. And it's always a bit of an awkward question because I obviously I haven't finished this season. We've got theories, we've got plenty to do on it. But I'm conscious that I'm paying upwards of 200 quid a year for a server that is currently, oops, wrong button, is currently very empty. And I could be running this on my own PC, or whatever. I also need to start thinking about future series. So Sid's Modded Life is approaching episode 200, which is a scary thing in its own right. That you've got a series that is nearly 200 episodes old. That is serious, some serious stuff right there. But yeah, it's not an easy question to answer what to do, and it is not made any easier by the fact that Minecraft 1.15 is here and has just come out of beta, or just come into beta I should say, in Forge. So we're not even into 1.14 in any significant modded way. Forgecraft is still experimenting with 1.15. 1.14, sorry, let me get the numbers right, and we are actually almost to the point where we should be doing 1.15. Now I've already seen a few modders go, what do you mean 1.15 Forge is here? We haven't even finished porting to 1.14. And then that begs the question, well, what happens with 1.16? How long is that going to be away? Is that going to be a similar kind of time? I know it's supposed to be a bigger Nether update. I think it's 16 that's the Nether update. And if that kind of goes the same way, then where do you go with that? Because we could be working into 1.15 and 16 drops, and then 17. And repeat ad nauseum. It's an awkward situation because I don't think I've ever seen the Minecraft versions update quite so rapidly as they've started now. And from a modded point of view, it's going to be very, very difficult for the ground to settle. Before we're moving on again. I'm trying to see how far I need to go. We're a bit further yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. There we go. That'll get us a bit further along. So that's a conundrum. Now, one thing I have thought about, and only because from the point of view of me, this is almost as new as modded, is what about vanilla? I haven't actually played a vanilla server or season for an absolute age, and it might be worthwhile running the server just as a vanilla server for a while. I mean, if people want to stick a few mods on and run, you know, journey map or some kind of map thing, that's fine. It's not, you know, that's client side mods. Obviously, you can't stop them anyway. But it is an interesting question, and I don't know the answer for that one. Now, I say I don't know the answer for whether 1.14, 1.15, what versions, where to stick, yada yada, etc. Mergle. It's a sticky question. So I wish I did know the answer. It would make life an awful lot easier. I was saying that line there, wasn't I? So not this. Oh, we got a pond there. I might come in again and go like that. Yeah, that would be an idea. So we can go 1, 2, 3, and then 1, bang. 2, 3, and 1, bang. That will work. And then get that. So yeah, I'm going to say this is all rhetorical questions really, because at the moment I'm not planning on ending this series. Sid's Modded Life has certainly got a few episodes left in the old beastie, I hope. Just because I enjoy playing it, and you know, there's still a few unfinished. I don't like leaving unfinished jobs. I realise there are probably going to be a few unfinished jobs, just because that's going to be the nature of the beast again. But I don't like leaving unfinished tasks, and it's an annoyance to me, I think would be the best way of describing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. There we go. How does that work for this? If we just come across, that takes us away from that nicely. I've just realised there's a spawnable spot there. Boop, not anymore. Yeah. So yeah, that kind of does work. I like that. That works for me. So we can just literally go like, that's not right. They're light blocks. Naughty. Nearly wasted them. So, thinking those through, where to go. Now, the other one is I'm kind of liking the idea of maybe doing some kind of nostalgia series and just playing something old. Like, you know, obviously I enjoy Terra Firmacraft. That's like my bag, if you like. I'm certainly one of my most successful series. But what if we were to try something else in 1.7 and just go back and let the modding environment stabilize a little bit? Because I think it stabilized at kind of 1.7 and 1.12, but I think it's going to be a little bit jittery for a while. And so I've been thinking along those lines. Now, there's been a suggestion made to me that I might like to go and have a look at the Lord of the Rings mod. And I have had a look at the Lord of the Rings mod, and it's very impressive. It's a massive world. Don't get me wrong, it's not an undertaking to take lightly, but it's certainly doable. But would I just want to play? I don't want to just sit there and do Lord of the Rings mod, because A, Vintage Beef has kind of picked up on that one, and I don't want people to think I'm just copying Beef, because I'm not. I don't really care if people think I'm copying Beef. You know, I'm not that worried about what people consider or think about me. But if we were to say take something like the Lord of the Rings mod and combine that with, I don't know, say Ars Magica, one of my favourite old 1.7 mods that never really did get ported. The porting has never completed for that, which is a shame, because I think it was a brilliant Magic mod. That was a light block, wasn't it? Yes. How about something like that? Is that something people might find interesting as either a server or both? In fact, you know, have the actual Lord of the Rings realm, the massive thing. I don't know how the disk space situation would play out, because my, oops, no, that's not quite right. My provider is a little bit stingy with the disk, and I keep coming back to messages that I've, you know, overrun my allotment, which is kind of ludicrous. But there we go. Where do I want to get to? I want to get to that line, I think. Let me just come over. Where am I? There. I want to be on that line. So around about here-ish. I realise a torch is not the most useful thing to use, but let me just work on these walls for a bit. I don't want to go blatting ahead too far when I've still got, you know, this is still to be done. So that's an option, but I am a little bit in some respects I'm a little bit overwhelmed with choice, and in other respects I'm a little bit underwhelmed with some of the options we have as well. You know, it's just not great, shall we say. But I'm going to just do a little bit more of this wall while I have a peruse and think about some of my options, and also things, because I've kind of rambled myself out into a corner here, and I'll be back in a second. Alright, we got a big chunk of wall, base wall done. I'm now just getting these overhangs, and to try and just get the mixed basically the cracked and mossy brick in, I'm doing this a slightly different way than I've done it before, because this is kind of a bulk build. So I'm placing these, which are obviously hole blocks, and once I've done that, I will then run down, and wherever there's not a hole block, I'll place a normal stair upside down, and then I'll come back from beneath with a chisel and try and just chisel these undersides into stair blocks. Then put all the things on, and then we can get the shingles on, and I'm going to try and complete these towers as well, just so we can, as we work around. I don't know if I'm going to get all of this wall done. Well, definitely not going to get all the wall done. Whether I'll get all of this bit of the wall done today, it's quite a big wall. But we'll see what we do, and you know, there's nothing to say I can't do more on stream or between it. Now, speaking of streams, this episode is going out on the, let me just check my handy dandy calendar thing. This episode will be going out on the 20th, which means that the next stream will be the 22nd, the last stream before Christmas. So this Sunday basically coming. So we'll continue some stuff on there, do things. Yeah, then I'm not sure, probably not streaming the weekend after, because I'll almost certainly have Jack up for the summer holidays. So it'll probably be the weekend after that. So the 5th of January will be the next one. But anyway, let me just come back into the game, because you know, handy dandy calendar's not as handy dandy for looking at things, but we're getting there. We will have a workable solution going forward here, and hopefully this will make this placement a lot easier, and to just hammer these down, because I do find chisels and bits a little bit invasive on your inventory. I think that's probably a fair way of describing it. Invasive on your inventory, you know, it takes up a fair amount of space. So I'm really trying to find an optimal way of doing this work here, and I may even continue placing the blocks from above to start off with. Now that will not be there, that will go like that, because that's going to be the same as that over there. Yeah, so once we've got this lot down, it's then into placing some blocks. I'm going to need some andesite walls as well, because that's a part of this build. Yeah, let me get some more done. I'll be back in a second. Alright, we're starting to get the towers on these sections anyway, and I've been having a little think about some possible ideas for server series and things, and yeah, things we could do. And I had a little bit of a brainstorm, a little bit of an idea. I don't know whether it's a good idea. I wouldn't go as far as to suggest it was necessarily a good idea, but it's an idea, and as an idea it's probably one we should kind of bounce around and share, and see what we think. So here is the thought. Obviously recently I have completed or played through I can't remember, was it? Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do. Hang on. Yeah, damn it. The latest iteration of Mage Renaissance, was it? I can't remember. And for those who more recently joined the channel, you probably don't remember, or if you haven't, you may have gone back and watched the original series, but Mage started as a server series, and I think I'm casting my mind back, and it's my mind's not brilliant at the best of the time, so don't expect this to be 100% accurate, but I think that was a 1.7 series, and it had Blood Magic and Thorncraft and Ars Magica and quite a few. It was Mage on Mage. One of those two seasons was actually better than the other. I think the pack worked better. And I was just thinking whether, if we were going down memory lane, so to speak, and coming back to packs from the past. I mean, obviously I could do something like, say, Regrowth or Crash Landing. I've done that, but I honestly don't see the point. Their attraction was in their novelty and their newness. The nostalgia value would be, I suppose Regrowth might be interesting, but again, it was also an absolute git of a pack. I'm sorry, it was. There's no point. Just because something is good doesn't mean it can't be a git as well. There was some serious grind in that pack. So, but we could look at doing something like, for example, this is going to hurt. That actually managed to hurt me. But the walls are starting to look a bit better. It is entirely feasible that we could recreate one of the early Mage packs, either Mage 1 or Mage 2. I don't know which. I'd have to have a think. Also, I'd have to have a look at what my what I've still got, and if it's still possible to do with the current selection of 1.710 mods, because some of those mods will have been discontinued and in various states of disrepair, but it could be interesting. Let me know what you think. I mean, we've got a few ideas on the table, a vanilla server, we've got some kind of nostalgia pack, we've got a bit of Lord of the Rings with, maybe a few other mods thrown in on top of that, just to think, because if I'm playing Lord of the Rings, I ain't playing as some plebby, human. I am going all out. I am going wizard. And if I'm going to go wizard, then I might as well, if it's 1.710, go Ars Magica, because, still, in my opinion, one of the greatest magic mods ever made. Obviously, Thorncraft has a place in that, and Blood Magic and Britannia, although there is still the the conversation that Britannia is actually a tech mod and not a magic mod. Make of that one as what you will. I'm not getting drawn back into that argument. I think it is a tech mod that has a magic dressing. I think that's probably a fair description. You can do quite a lot of the stuff you can do in tech, but it has a enchanted magical kind of feel to it. And that's my line. I'm sticking with it. But some of these mods were the absolute, classics of magic, and that doesn't detract from the great mods we've had. The Embers, the Astral Sorcery, all of these other magic mods that have been in the mix. So I want another block. There. Over the years, but there's a lot of options, so let me know what you think, because unfortunately I can't read minds. I've been working on it, but doesn't always pan out the way you want. So yeah, I'm definitely not going to get all of these walls are really quite painful to do in their own way. Let me get a couple of those. Pop, pop, there we go. That'll do me there. So this is probably as far around as I'm going to get on the wall. I'm going to but I am going to try and get the detailing done on these before we finish, so I can at least know that we're all the way round in terms of walls and detail, all the way round to here, because otherwise you're just prolonging the agony of having to do the detailing later. And is agony the right word? Yes, agony is definitely the right word. Detailing is painful at the best of times, so yeah, I definitely think agony is the right word. Just do that. There we go. Plop, 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 plop. So let me get a little bit more of this on. I'll let you have a mull over those, and I'll come back once we've got these bits done. I think on the stream I may work on that tower over there. Remind me, because I will forget. That's a given, that I will forget that I said I will do that. So yeah, reminders are necessary, I'm afraid, because you're talking to me. Back in a mo. Alright, well, we've got the outside walls, we've got the towers in. I do need to do the detailing, and quite frankly right now I am not looking forward. I mean, the detail, when I say detailing, and I haven't got I think my scaffold's in my bag actually. First things we're going to have to do is mark up these walls, get them nicely tied down and mucked up like that. That's going to have to take place all the way around there. Then we're going to have to chisel in, get some leaf blocks, which fortunately we're not shy of, and then finally kind of, let me just check, why is that there? That doesn't need to be there. Start getting the outside of this all nicely landscaped, because at the moment it's a mess. But this thing and these things have been invaluable. They're giving me a lot of resource to build this thing. I mean, the wall here is, well, let's do this from the top, shall we? Where's my about there, I think. This wall is not trivial. I think I do need to do that. I don't think that really, and I definitely need to tidy up these edges. So that is a thing. This doesn't need, does this want to go any further over? I think we'll, no, well, not like that we won't. Maybe there and there. Maybe with a spruce log underneath. I don't know. And similarly, we will definitely need one there. But then you've got down here that kind of merges on that side. This is fine, but over here, just little details. Yes, little tiny details that, you know, take it from being complete to finish. Now, we've still got a whole load of wall to do. I've still got a whole load of detailing to do. I'll try and do that between episodes. I think on stream I'm going to try and work on the tower and some more things, and I also need to tidy that up. The other things I'm considering is I think that reed farm can go. The villagers are just getting confused in there. They get lost in it, and the pathfinding fails. So I don't know whether that is the cause of it, but whenever you find a villager that is locked up, that seems to be where they are. Let's see if we can't get a good vantage point to kind of just look at the work we've done. That's really not going to help me. Whee! Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, not a huge amount. I did want to have a chance to have a little kind of a chat about, as you know, so that was more this kind of thing, and that will get done there. We've got a whole load of work to be done over there still. That all needs doing. I need to continue extending that back. I do need to decide what we're going to do over here with the walls. That's going to be a pain. But yeah, look there. Two of them in the reeds. I think they are failing with those. I don't think that's playing nicely. And I don't think that's helping with any of the other features that we have. So, you know, we've... whether can you? Oh, we can. So these are all villager chickens. But they're not doing very well on the old growth. In terms of the other stuff, let's just head over this way a little bit. So we've got this kind of thing to carry on working on. This needs to continue extending back, and the bits where I really do need to kind of think about this, and it is somewhat awkward, is around here. I need to bring my wall coming on this way, but the problem here is we've got a honking great big mountain in the way. And if we do that, that is the line I'm talking about coming down for, yeah, a little bit over this way for the wall. Or maybe a big gate there somewhere, I don't know, and road coming in. Again, really haven't got any solid plans for this area yet, but we're getting there. I have got solid plans for this area. If we're coming up here, we can do, I don't know what to do with this at all. Maybe we actually bring the wall across to here and then in and bring it off of there and make that bit there the defense. You know, we can, I don't know what to do here actually. I suppose we could kind of come up with some kind of wall structure that comes off from over here, and then yeah, we could do. I really do need to think about this big time, and obviously there's still quite a bit of detailing to do down there. It's a huge amount of work, a huge amount of things to do, and only so much time to do it, but it is shaping up big time. But definitely on the stream I want to work on that, and maybe some more on these walls, and then we'll see where we go from there. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you on Sunday on the stream. Till then, bye for now.